How to build wealth after 50, even if it feels too late. You're 52 years old, sitting at your kitchen table, looking at a retirement calculator online. The number staring back at you says you need $1.2 million. You look at your account balance, $87,000. Your chest tightens. That voice in your head whispers, "I'm too late. I should have started 20 years ago. If only I knew then what I know now." Everywhere you look, the message is the same. Financial planners say you should have started in your 20s. News articles talk about the retirement crisis. Your friends who started early are planning comfortable retirements, and you're sitting there feeling like you've missed your window entirely. But here's what nobody is telling you. You haven't missed your window. You're actually entering a phase where you have unique advantages that 25-year-olds don't have. Less time, yes, but higher earning power, lower expenses, complete clarity, and an urgency that creates results. I'm going to show you exactly how to build substantial wealth after 50. Not fantasy numbers. Real strategies using the advantages that only people your age have. If you're over 50 and ready to stop feeling defeated and start taking action, hit that subscribe button and comment "not too late" below. Let me show you why that feeling of being too late is the biggest lie you've been told. Number 1, why it feels too late. Let me start by validating something you're feeling right now. At 50 plus, everywhere you look, there are reminders that you're late to the game. Every piece of financial advice seems targeted at young people. Start investing in your 20s. Give compound interest 40 years to work its magic. Retire as a millionaire by starting early. And when you hear all of that, you feel like you've missed the boat entirely. The math seems impossible, doesn't it? You've got maybe 15 to 20 years until retirement. You're starting from nearly zero, or maybe a small amount that feels embarrassingly inadequate. How can you possibly catch up when everyone says you need 4 decades? The emotional weight of this is crushing. The regret for past decisions. The anger at yourself for not starting sooner. The fear about your future. The embarrassment when you compare yourself to friends who started preparing years ago. And here's what happens. This feeling becomes so overwhelming that you don't start at all. You think, what's the point of starting now? I might as well just work until I die. You give up before you even try. But here's what the financial industry won't tell you, because it doesn't help them sell products to young people. Starting at 50 is not the same as starting at 25, but it's not worse. It's a different game with different advantages, and I'm going to give you 3 specific reasons why you're not too late. First, you have a massively higher earning and saving capacity. When you're 25, you might be earning $40,000 and able to save maybe $200 or $300 a month. At 50, you're likely earning $75,000 to $100,000 or more, and you can realistically save $2,000 to $3,000 a month. That's 10 times the contribution capacity. Let me show you the math. $2,500 a month for 15 years at 7% returns gives you $635,000. That's not millions, but it's a substantial cushion that's much better than having nothing. Plus, you probably own your home or at least have significant equity. Your kids are done with college or close to it. Your major life-building expenses are behind you. Second, you have far fewer distractions and obligations than young people. At 25, you're juggling student loans, starting your career, maybe getting married, buying your first home, and starting a family. You're building your entire life from scratch while trying to save money. It's nearly impossible. At 50, your kids are grown or nearly grown. Your house is paid off or you're close to it. Your career is established. You're not building life anymore. You're optimizing it. This means you can focus 100% of your financial energy on one priority, securing your retirement. You're not juggling 10 priorities, you have one. And that singular focus is incredibly powerful. Third, urgency creates laser focus that young people simply don't have. When you're 25, you think you have 40 years so you can start next year. There's no real urgency. At 50, you know you have 15 years, maybe 20 if you work longer. You need to start now. And that urgency is actually your superpower. There's no procrastination, no. I'll get to it eventually. You create an intensity that someone in their 20s can't match because they don't feel the pressure you feel. Let me tell you about a woman who understood this. She was 53, recently divorced after a 20-year marriage where she'd been a stay-at-home mom. She re-entered the workforce at 38 and was now earning $65,000. She had $12,000 in an IRA. That was it. She felt crushing shame comparing herself to friends who had $400,000 or $500,000 saved. She almost didn't even try because she thought, what's the point? I'll never catch up. Then she met with a financial advisor who showed her something that changed everything. He said, you're 53. Let's say you work until 68, that's 15 years. If you max out your 401k, including employer match at about $30,000 a year, and it grows at 7%, you'll have $726,000. You're friends with $400,000 now? If they just let it grow without adding more, they'll have about $800,000. You'll be at 90% of where they are. That's not too late. That's almost caught up. That conversation changed her life. She stopped comparing herself to her past and started planning for her future. She's 58 now and has $247,000 saved. She told me at 53, I thought my financial life was over. But my 50s taught me that it's not about what you missed. It's about what you do with what remains. I may have started late, but I'm finishing strong. Here's what you need to understand. Too late is a feeling, not a fact. The only people for whom it's truly too late are those who never start. You're not competing with the 25-year-old version of yourself that doesn't exist. You're competing with the 65-year-old version of yourself who will wish that your 50-year-old self had started. And that's exactly why understanding your unique advantages right now matters so much. Because once you see what you actually have working in your favor, this starts to feel less like an impossible dream and more like a challenging but achievable mission. Number 2, your unique advantages after 50. Now let me show you something that changes the entire conversation. All the financial advice out there focuses on what you don't have at 50 plus. You don't have 40 years for compound interest. You don't have time on your side. You don't have a clean slate. But nobody talks about what you do have. And what you do have are advantages that 25-year-olds would absolutely kill for. Let's start with advantage number 1, peak earning power with minimal expenses. At 50 plus, you're likely at or near your peak career earnings. The Bureau of Labor Statistics confirms that earnings peak between 45 and 54. But here's the key difference between your 50s and your 40s. In your 40s, you're earning peak money, but you're also at peak expenses. Kids in college, mortgage payments, car payments, everything costs money. In your 50s, you're still earning that peak money, but your expenses are dropping dramatically. Think about what you don't have to pay for anymore. No more college tuition. Your house is paid off or very close to it. Your cars are paid off. You're done buying stuff because you already have everything you need. Lower insurance costs, no daycare, no kid sports, no kid anything. This is huge. You might earn the same as a 45-year-old, but you can save double or triple what they can. Let me give you a concrete example. At 45, you're earning $90,000 with expenses of $72,000. You're saving $18,000 a year, which is 20%. Not bad. At 55, you're earning $95,000, but your expenses have dropped to $48,000 because the kids are gone and the house is paid off. Now you're saving $47,000 a year. That's 49% of your income. You've nearly tripled your savings rate without earning dramatically more money. This is why your 50s are the wealth acceleration decade. Advantage number 2 is complete clarity about what actually matters. At 25, you're trying to figure out what you want from life. At 35, you're juggling career and family and obligations, not entirely sure what's important. At 50 plus, you have crystal clear clarity. You know what makes you happy, and you've learned it's not stuff. You know what's truly important: health, family, security, freedom. You know what doesn't matter: impressing people, keeping up with the Joneses, buying fancy things. And you know how much is enough. You're not chasing endless accumulation. You have a specific number in mind. This clarity is your weapon. Young people scatter their energy across 20 different goals. You focus all your energy on the one goal that matters: financial security for retirement. One target, all your ammunition aimed at it. That focused intensity creates results that scattered effort never can. Advantage number 3 might surprise you. At 50 plus, you actually have greater freedom to take calculated risks. Conventional wisdom says you should be conservative with money at this age. Play it safe. Don't lose anything. But that's actually wrong. You can take bigger strategic risks at 50 than you could at 30, and here's why. At 30, if you lose your job, it's devastating. You have a mortgage, kids, and obligations. At 50, if something goes wrong, it's manageable. Your kids are grown, your house is paid off, you actually have less to lose, not more. Plus, if you're behind on savings, you need bigger returns. You can't get there with a 2% savings account. You need stock market returns. Maybe you need to start a business using your 30 years of expertise. These moves feel risky, but they're calculated risks, and you have the wisdom to assess them properly and the freedom to take them. A conservative approach when you're behind guarantees failure. A calculated, aggressive approach gives you a shot at success. The fourth advantage is what I call ruthless simplicity. At 50 plus, you're done with nonsense. You have zero patience for complicated investment schemes, get-rich-quick scams, financial advisors churning your accounts for fees, keeping up appearances, or wasting money on things that don't matter. You want simple, proven, and straightforward. And this is actually a massive advantage. Young people chase shiny objects. They get distracted by crypto or meme stocks or whatever's trending. You know that boring wins. Index funds, maxing your 401k, paying off your house, living below your means. It's not sexy, but it works. Your finely tuned BS detector saves you from expensive mistakes that derail young investors constantly. These 4 advantages aren't inferior versions of what 25-year-olds have. There are different advantages that are actually superior for your situation. Less time, but massively higher capacity to save. Less energy, but complete clarity on where to focus it. Less naivety, but more wisdom to make smart moves. Less tolerance for nonsense, but better ability to stay on track. Stop wishing you had the advantages of a 25-year-old. You're not in their game anymore. You're in a different game, and in this game, your advantages are better. The question is, are you going to use them? Because knowing you have advantages means nothing if you don't turn them into action. And that's exactly what we need to talk about next. Number 3, the actual strategy. Now let's get specific. Understanding your advantages is good, but you need an actual strategy. What do you do? How do you turn 15 years into financial security? Here's your 4-part blueprint. Strategy number 1 is catch-up maximization. The government knows that people build wealth in their 50s, and they've created specific rules to help. If you're 50 or older, you can contribute significantly more to retirement accounts than younger people. These are called catch-up contributions, and they're specifically designed for your situation. Here are the exact numbers for 2024. For a 401k, the normal contribution limit is $23,000 a year. But at age 50 plus, you can contribute an extra $7,500, bringing your total to $30,500. For an IRA, the normal limit is $7,000, but at 50 plus, you can add an extra $1,000 for a total of $8,000. Combined, you can put away $38,500 a year in tax-advantaged accounts. If your employer matches 4 to 6%, you're looking at even more. Let me show you the math that should blow your mind. $30,500 a year in your 401k for 15 years at 7% returns equals $765,000. Add a reasonable employer match and you're easily at $850,000 to $900,000, starting from zero at age 50. This is exactly why it's not too late. The government literally created these rules because it understands that your 50s are catch-up time. Here's what you do immediately. Increase your 401k contribution to the maximum. If you can't afford the full amount right now, increase it by 1% every single month until you hit the max. Automate it so you never see the money. Then learn to live on what's left. This is non-negotiable if you're serious about building wealth. Strategy number 2 is unlocking your housing wealth. Most people over 50 are sitting on massive home equity. You bought your house 20 or 30 years ago. It's either paid off or close to it. The house is worth way more than you paid. But that's trapped wealth just sitting there. You need to unlock it. You have 3 options. Option 1 is downsizing. Your kids are gone. You don't need 4 bedrooms anymore. Sell your big house and buy a smaller one. Invest the difference. If you sell a $450,000 house and buy a $250,000 condo, that's $200,000 to invest. $200,000 at 7% for 15 years becomes $550,000. Plus, you'll save $500 to $1,000 a month on property taxes, maintenance, and utilities. Invest that too. Option 2 is moving to a lower-cost area. If you're working remotely or planning to retire early, move from a high-cost city to a low-cost area. Your $400,000 house in California becomes a $180,000 house in Tennessee. That's $220,000 in difference to invest. You get the same house for less money and invest the gap. Option 3, if you want to stay in your house, is house hacking. Rent out extra rooms. Use Airbnb for your basement or spare bedroom. Build an accessory dwelling unit if zoning allows. This can bring in an extra $500 to $1,500 a month. Invest every penny of that income. The key is understanding that your house is an asset, but it's not helping you if the equity just sits there doing nothing. You need that equity working for you. Strategy number 3 is the brutal expense cut. To save $30,000 or more per year, you need to cut expenses to the bone. This requires real sacrifice, but it's a temporary sacrifice for permanent security. 15 years of intensity in exchange for 30 years of comfortable retirement. Here's what gets cut. Dining out goes from $600 a month to $100. Save $500. Travel drops from $5,000 a year to $2,000. Save another $250 monthly. Entertainment goes from $300 to $100 a month. Save $200. Shopping and clothes go from $400 to $100 monthly. Save $300. Subscriptions drop from $150 to $30. Save $120. And your paid-off cars? You drive them until the wheels literally fall off. If you were making car payments before, that's another $500 saved. Add it all up, and you're saving nearly $1,900 a month, which is over $22,000 a year. The mindset is critical here. You're not doing this forever. Just 15 years. You're 50 years old, and you're going scorched earth on expenses. You're living like a broke college student for 15 years, so you can retire with dignity forever. Strategy number 4 is income extension. Who says you have to retire at 65? That's an arbitrary number. Every extra year you work helps in 3 ways. 1 more year of saving and investing. 1 more year of your accounts growing untouched. And 1 less year of withdrawing from your accounts. The math here is dramatic. Let's say you have $400,000 at 65. If you retire at 65 and withdraw 4% a year, you might run out of money before you die. But if you work until 70 without touching that money, your $400,000 becomes $561,000. Then you start withdrawing. Plus, you contributed another 5 years, adding maybe $150,000 to $200,000 more. The total difference is $350,000 or more. Your strategy is simple. Plan to work until 68 to 70, even if it's part-time. This removes all the pressure about not having enough time. It gives your investments time to compound. It gives you more years to contribute. You're not 25 saying you'll work until 70. You're 50 saying you'll work 18 more years instead of 15. That small difference creates massive results. This is how you build wealth after 50. Not by wishing you started earlier, but by being absolutely ferocious with the time you have now. Let me be completely honest with you. Yes, starting at 25 would have been easier. Yes, you missed some compound interest years. Yes, you'll have to work harder than someone who started early. But you know what? You're not someone who started early. You're someone who's starting now. And that's okay. You can't change the past. You can't get back those 25 years. But you can absolutely control the next 15 to 20 years. The question isn't, what if I had started sooner? The question is, what am I going to do with the time I have left? Here's what we covered. Change your mindset. Stop comparing yourself to the past and start leveraging your present. Recognize your unique advantages. Peak earning with minimal expenses, complete clarity, freedom to take calculated risks, and zero tolerance for BS. Then execute the strategy. Max your catch-up contributions, $30,500 a year. Unlock your home equity through downsizing or moving. Cut expenses brutally and extend your working years to 68 or 70. The math works. Starting at 50, maxing your 401k for 18 years gets you 1.1 million. Add employer match, downsize your home, invest that equity, and you can easily reach 1.5 million or more. Starting from nearly zero at 50, you have two options. Feel sorry for yourself and reach 65 with the same 87,000 you have now, or get ferocious for 15 years and reach 68 with over $1 million. Comment "not too late" plus your current age plus your goal. Make it public. Make it real. You're not too late. You're exactly on time for the race you're in. Run it.